Where do you see competition coming from? Do you see it coming from the old car makers coming back at you? I just saw a forecast that maybe in a couple of years' time Volkswagen would be bigger than you in electric cars. Or do you see it coming from new places? Do you believe that or not?
I believe that forecast was from you.
Yes, it was, yeah. And do you agree with that?
I would not agree with that forecast, no. Yeah, no, I do think, well, I should say from a Tesla perspective, we don't really think about other competitors. Our constraints are much more in raw materials and being able to scale up production. So our constraints are not imposed upon us by competitors, but rather just imposed upon us by the realities of the supply chain and building up manufacturing capacity.
Welcome to Electrified. It's your host, Dylan Loomis. So far today, Tesla stock up around 11%. Now, I know this will make many of you very happy. Honestly though, I'm personally still rooting for Tesla stock to go down. I would love to see it in the 500s or 600s, honestly for the next year or so to give me time to accumulate at great prices given the historic macro backdrop, as I think that would make an awesome scenario of the next year of Tesla stock coiling and compressing and basically getting ready to be unleashed once the macro changes, and at that point Tesla's numbers are that much better. It could make for a very exciting end of 2023 or 24. Never really want to put timelines on anything, but just a possible scenario that I would love to see happen. If you're wondering why the move, it's anybody's guess, but Tesla is indeed outperforming its beta of 2, with the NASDAQ only up about 2.5% so far. Last week, the market, it was one of the worst weeks in the last few years, so at some point, big money is going to start liking these prices more and more, but the main thing is just having certainty around inflation, around supply chains. The market loves predictability. I love this chart from Troy Tesla comparing the first 3 months of production from Giga Shanghai to that of Giga Berlin. Just looking at the Model Y rates for Shanghai and Berlin, and for Berlin, it's going to be April, May, and June. As we know, June is not done yet, but these numbers will get us in the neighborhood. So clearly Giga Berlin is ramping slower than Giga Shanghai in terms of the first 3 months of Model Y production. Why is that? Myriad reasons really. Brand new paint shop, giga castings, new machines, new techniques, supply chain challenges. This plant was supposed to use 4680s. They're still importing 2170 packs from Shanghai. So many reasons why this ramp is going to be slower. However, long term, it should still be one of Tesla's, if not the most efficient plant in terms of employee headcount. Now, I don't want you to think that this article is a main contributing factor to the slower ramp at Giga Berlin, but it's something to keep in mind. Note that these comments from IG Metall are citing its own analysis and they don't really provide any tangible evidence. With that said, apparently some workers at Giga Berlin are complaining about inadequate or unequal wages. Skilled workers are getting around 20% less at the plant than at rival manufacturers with IG Metall wage agreements. Birgit Dietze said Tesla recruitment is not progressing at the planned speed. Many people would be interested in switching to Tesla, but ultimately decide against it because they sometimes earn considerably more in their current positions at other automotive companies. For now, I think this is mostly a nothing burger. If this is true to whatever degree, then Tesla will adjust and offer better wages if they need to hire more talent faster. Once again, if it thinks it needs to do that, it's not like they can't afford to do so, so nothing to worry about. This also doesn't make much sense because from all the public data that we have, generally speaking, Tesla offers some of the best compensation packages in the industry when you factor in stock compensation and other factors. And further than that, let's just say hypothetically, these other automakers are paying its employees more. The question then becomes, how sustainable is that because they have a fraction of the margins that Tesla has? Today is a day to celebrate for Tesla. On this day, back in 2012, 10 years ago, Tesla delivered the first Model S vehicles, delivering 2,600 vehicles that year. Fast forward 1 decade and Tesla should deliver around 1.5 million vehicles this year. Job well done to the Tesla team. Ashok Eliswamy, Tesla's director of Autopilot, tweeted the Autopilot team is at the Computer Vision Pattern Recognition Conference. It's in New Orleans, so if you're in the area, you can go say hi to the team and check out the Cybertruck. It's at the Memorial Convention Center, and from June 21st to 24th will be the main conference, and the expo goes until the 23rd. This post was trending on Reddit showing Tesla superchargers with long wait times, wondering why Tesla isn't expanding in certain certain areas faster? Well, Tesla definitely has certain metrics that may overlook certain areas. That said, one of the main limiting factors to expanding the supercharger network is actually the ability to connect to the grid. So Tesla can now build the actual infrastructure quicker, but getting it tied into the grid seems to be slowing them down from what I'm reading. We know that in some places, Tesla is using this prefab process to install supercharger sites, which can get it done in a few days. Once again, depending on the region, it comes down to the permitting and the utility companies actually hooking up the site. We have CharIN officially launching the megawatt charging system. CharIN is the Charging Interface Initiative, basically a global association of 260 plus different companies working to further these interoperability standards using CCS. CharIN is a non-profit organization and is open to essentially anyone worldwide. And yes, Tesla has been a member of this association since February 2016. This new megawatt charging system was demonstrated with an Alpitronic charger and a Scania 100% electric truck. More than 300 people attended the event, and the final publication for this new MCS is expected in 2024. One of the new requirements for this MCS standard, the port should be located on the left side of the vehicle, roughly hip height. And the max requirement, 1,250 volts and 3,000 amps for DC fast charging. Plugging in that data for amps and volts, that gives us a power of 3,750 kilowatts, comparable to Tesla's V3 supercharging that currently tops out at 250 kilowatts. Now, that power figure seems to be kind of the max output. They do say that this standard focuses on class 6, 7, and 8 commercial vehicles, but could easily be used for buses, aircrafts, or other large BEVs that can accept over a 1 megawatt charge rate. 1 megawatt would be 1,000 kilowatts. There have been some research institutes that have already started a pilot line in Germany to put this megawatt charging for long-haul trucking to the real-world test to get more information about these new standards that once again should be finalized by 2024. Here's a close-up of the plug that probably still is in a prototype form. And now we just need somebody to get to the Frito-Lay site where Tesla has 4 megachargers set up to get a close-up picture of the plug there to see if Tesla is already indeed using this MCS standard type plug. It should also be noted vehicles equipped with megawatt charging system should be able to charge from the existing CCS infrastructure. I would interpret that to mean CCS1, CCS2, and maybe some others. So yes, this is going to be major demand for the current grid. So yes, it absolutely has to keep transforming, building out new and better, more sustainable infrastructure to handle this future demand. On that note, just wanted to share this article. I will link it below. You can share it with other people. It does a great job of being interactive. It's from the Wall Street Journal, and it goes through at different stages of a vehicle's life cycle from being built to actually being on the road, comparing the carbon emissions at different stages. They use a Model 3 and a RAV4. So at 0 miles, when the cars are just being built at this point, yes, it takes more in terms of CO2 emissions to build a Model 3 than a RAV4 due to mining. And according to the study, it was around 20,700 miles when the Model 3 became equivalent in terms of CO2 emissions to a RAV4. Then from there on out, of course, the Model 3 and electric car would win. And we have to keep in mind with each passing month, the grid does become a bit more sustainable, albeit it's pretty slow. After 200,000 miles, the average life expectancy of a normal car, the Tesla has emitted less than half of the CO2 as the comparable RAV4. Tesla is being sued by 2 former workers at its Nevada plant, basically citing Tesla did not give proper notice before they were let go. Luckily for us, Elon just spoke at the Qatar Economic Forum and he had some comments on this very situation.
We did make an announcement. Yes, let's not read too much into a preemptive lawsuit that has no standing. That is a small lawsuit of minor consequence. That just anything that related to Tesla gets big headlines, but it is whether it is a bicycle accident or something much more serious. It's still it seems like anything related to Tesla gets a lot of clicks, whether it is trivial or significant. I would put that lawsuit you're referring to in the trivial category. So a year from now, I think our headcount will be higher in both salaried and obviously in hourly. But in the short term of the next few months, we expect to see, like I said, roughly a 10% reduction in salaried workforce, which is actually just really only a 3.5% reduction in total headcount, and not super material.
I was going to go through the WARN Act with you, a federal law that basically gives some protections to employees, but since Elon said this is so trivial, we don't need to spend time here, but you can pause the screen if you'd like. Just to prove it to you quickly, Elon just said over the next 3 or so months, maybe they lay off around 3 to 3% of the workforce. Let's just assume they have 100,000 employees, so that would be 3,500 layoffs. Assuming an average salary of $75,000, short, maybe higher or lower, but that works out to about $12,500 for 60 days worth of pay if every single employee joined this lawsuit and was owed 60 days of back pay. That would still only be around $43.8 million that Tesla would owe these employees. That said, Elon seems to think it's a preemptive lawsuit with no basis, and we don't really know what type of notice Tesla did or did not give, so either way, wouldn't worry about it at all. Back to the Qatar Economic Forum interview. In my opinion, it really was not that great. The interviewer was asking questions we already knew the answers to, and Elon didn't seem overly interested in answering a lot of them. Elon did say that in the short term, he thinks a recession is more likely than not, and in the long term, it's inevitable because there will always be recessions. He also said he didn't agree with the forecast that was put out by Bloomberg about Volkswagen overtaking Tesla in global EV sales by 2024. And one other comment worth mentioning.
Well, I hope that we will have an interesting prototype to show people. We have a very talented team at Tesla that I'm working with closely to have a prototype humanoid robot ready by the end of September, and I think we are tracking to that point. So that, and there'll be a few other exciting things that we talk about at the Tesla AI Day. But I really want to, we have these sort of AI Day events to just emphasize that Tesla is a lot more than a car company, and that we are, in my view, the leading real-world AI company that exists.
Motor Trend did a top 10 greatest American cars of all time list, and yes, the Tesla Model S made the list. Criteria: automobiles that were hugely influential in terms of their technology, design, engineering, and their impact on society and popular culture. These are machines that changed our world. If you're curious about the other 9, the article will be linked below. Be careful with this one, but Chris Zhang said as of June 19th, Tesla China delivered 46,012 units so far during the month. So he says June will break the new delivery record. The suspense is what the increase will be. So if we take that average daily delivery rate and multiply it over the remaining 11 days for the month of June, that would be an additional 26,600 cars that Giga Shanghai could deliver. And we have to go back to December 2021 for Tesla's record delivery figure of 70,847. Doing the math we just did for June, we would be on a hypothetical track for 72,643 deliveries for the month. If this actually plays out, that means Giga Shanghai basically went from April, which was essentially a 0, to a record production month 2 months later. Wildly impressive. Tesla shared this new video of the Cybertruck driving around to deliver some ice cream on a hot day. I just have to say, of all the things going on at Tesla, I'm personally most excited for Cybertruck production. I know there are more important things to the stock, 4680s, AI, all of that wonderful, exciting stuff, but for me to see this vehicle in early production, I honestly cannot wait. Indonesia continuing its pitch to Tesla. If you see Jokowi, just know that's what he's known as. This is Joko Widodo, the Indonesian president. We learned that his government is not just in talks with Tesla, but Ford and other car companies as well. Jokowi said, "We had a lot of discussions, particularly on how Tesla can build their industry from upstream to downstream, end to end, starting from smelter, then build the cathode and precursor industry, build EV batteries, lithium batteries, and the vehicle factory. Everything in Indonesia because that's very efficient. That's what I offered." Elon sent a team to Indonesia a few weeks ago to check the potential of nickel, to check environmental aspects, but the car-related team has not come. However, the car team could visit in the near future. And Jokowi said, "We want to build an industrial ecosystem for lithium batteries. We have Core Lithium in Australia saying it's expecting to deliver its first shipment of lithium spodumene to Tesla by the end of the year." Back in March, Core Lithium team said this project will provide up to 110,000 tons of spodumene concentrate to Tesla over 4 years. I've done a few different videos breaking down how many vehicles this could be good for, but as we talked about, there's plenty of debate on how many kilograms of lithium is needed for each battery pack, between 5 kilograms or 65 kilograms, depending on who you talk to, but see those videos if you want more explanation. Elon said he's going to keep supporting Dogecoin. I have a lot of opinions on this, but we'll save those for another day. It looks like Unplugged Performance has linked up with Franz von Holhausen's wife, who has been developing this custom interior vegan leather. However, it will come at a cost. Unplugged is set to offer this bamboo leather interior on all Tesla models. It's a vegan leather that is buttery soft like lambskin, scratch resistant, stain resistant, water resistant, lightweight, and made from bamboo, the most renewable raw material on Earth. Honestly, it sounds awesome and it could look really cool. Existing Tesla owners can take their car to Unplugged, or in the future, they're offering an option where you can have Unplugged buy the car for you. They then do the interior upgrade and then ship the car to you wherever you're at. The cost, $30,000. Customers can also select stitch detail preferences, stitch thread color options, perforations, and multiple material colors can be used at no additional cost. The next availability from Unplugged for this custom option is not until winter of this year for North America. It looks like Starlink's default Wi-Fi name will be Stinky. From Drive Tesla Canada, BMW just announced spending $1 billion on the development and production of its next-gen electric powertrains in Austria. BMW hopes to produce up to 600,000 e-drives each year at the facility. A lot of people complain about Tesla door handles, but it could also be a secret safety feature from intruders. That'll do it for today. Please take a second to like the video if you did. Hope you guys have a wonderful day, and a huge thank you to all of my Patreon supporters.